Welcome to No Such Thing as Normal podcast with Natalie Hayes and Jess McKeown.
This is a casual podcast where we talk about all the things you're not supposed to talk about in order to help you normalize your real life, because really we're all just a bunch of weirdos having a completely human experience in a society that asks us to pretend like we're not.
And I'm your host, Jess, a gifted spirit baby medium who facilitates deep soul healing by channeling divine messages.
And I'm your other host, Natalie, and I'm a trauma-informed intuitive mindset and manifestation coach.
Be sure to subscribe where you listen to podcasts, watch our 100% unedited episodes on YouTube because we're just too lazy to edit them. And you can also follow us on IG at No Such Thing as Normal Pod for more weirdo and woo-woo content.
And if you like this episode, please be sure to rate and review so that more people can unleash their weird with you.
Had to cough there.
Oh,
I had to mute and cough. I don't want to be coughing in our wonderful listeners' ears.
That was really nice of you.
Yeah. And speaking of coughing.
Oh, yeah. What a great segue.
And being sick, we're going to chat about health, wellness, sickness, disease today, which is like such a fun topic. I don't know. That's weird if I think it's fun, but I find all of this fun.
Yeah. I mean, it's
that's my word for
loaded.
everything. Yeah. Like a baked potato.
Exactly. Health, a baked potato.
Yes. So like, what's your relationship with health, sickness, disease? Like when that topic comes up, what do you think of?
Oh, it feels really heavy to think of, right? Like it feels really heavy to think about. My personal relationship has evolved, I think, over the past couple of years. I mean, last year, 2020 in hell. what a thing last year. But
wah, wah.
Wah, wah.
No bueno.
Yeah, but like obviously I work in healthcare.
Yes.
But I can't, like, I've hated every minute of it, so I can't really say like, oh, go me. Obviously I love it. It just feels really heavy. Sickness is so like multifaceted, and for me, the past couple of years, it's been like just shifting my perspective about how I view like viruses and illness. And I think they're all just physical manifestations of root causes, and viruses give you upgrades. That's what I choose to believe.
Oh, I love that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like health has mostly been around like weight for me, right? And eating a certain way. Like it's a very, very narrow thing. But as I've grown and expanded, like, which I see a lot too now on the interwebs, it's like people are actually considering mental health, right? We used to joke taking a mental health day, but now more and more people are considering their mental health. They may not be, needing to go to the doctor and get a prescription or whatever kind of a level of sickness, but they need a fucking break and they need to have a day where they can just do nothing. So I think just realizing that there's all different kinds of health in your world that you need to pay attention to: your physical health, your mental health, your spiritual health, and your emotional health. And I really only focus on my physical health for a majority of my life, and then realize like, oh, when I focus on my spiritual health, my mental health, my emotional health, my physical health would change and improve. That was really cool for me.
Do you think that that's like a mostly female thing, the like physical aspect of health? Because I feel like this is like a broad generalization, but I feel like men get blindsided with health issues.
Yeah.
But like women are essentially just fat shamed after a certain age when they go to the doctor.
That's true. I think probably since I was like 13 years old, I've been reading like 17 magazine and Cosmo and all the things. And so I think definitely we are more geared towards and have more messages towards us about health than guys do. I think I know like a lot of guys I know, like, don't go to the doctor, don't go to the dentist. Like they're just like, and then all of a sudden they have something wrong. And I think they're like, oh yeah, well, I've had that pain in my back for like 5 years. And you're like, what? But when I used to teach yoga, I would do that. I would talk to people and they'd be like, oh, just the regular aches and pains. I'd be like, oh, just the regular, like you're just kind of walking around with
that.
Yeah. Like when you do any sort of change in your life and, you get away from some habits and then you come back, you realize like, oh, I've been feeling so shitty. And I just thought that was how it was. I just always thought that you get bloated after eating. I always thought that you get tired and then you change the way that you do something and you're like, what? It's wild.
I know.
But yes, I would say mostly women it's focused on.
And I feel like with women too, most of the conditioning around health, like if you say what is healthy to you to a woman, they'd be like, oh, 120 pounds with six pack and a nice tan. Like I feel like if you ask a woman, what does health mean to you? And I feel like if you ask like a man, what does health mean to you? I mean, I think they would probably cringe or scowl and be like, salads. Like,
Oh, like they don't like to be
yeah.
healthy.
Yeah. Like
Mm.
health has become this like a woman's problem.
Oh yeah.
And it's not. And health doesn't look a certain way either.
Yes.
I have been healthy at all different stages of my life. I was probably less healthy when I was restricting myself because of weight and all
Mm.
of that, which we'll talk more about, I think, next episode, like body image and stuff. But I feel healthier now. And I think I weigh more than I ever have before.
Yeah. And like society wants to tell you that that's wrong, right? Like they want to say like, no, you're, it's great that you're feeling good, but you should also weigh this, you
Right.
know? And that's the weird thing. It's like, if you look at where those numbers come from, it's just horrible, right?
The BMI.
The BMI,
it's horseshit.
it's just filled with like racist stereotypes. Let's just put it out there.
It is.
Don't listen to it.
Don't listen to it.
Get instead like into yourself and like what feels good for you and what feels healthy. And I think I've done some like really fun work with health coaches, which I really love. And they've given me so much freedom, right? Mm-hmm. Like I remember talking to my health coach and be like, I didn't eat a vegetable all day today. And she was like, that's okay. And I was like, what? No, like I would be like 10 o'clock at night, be like, better cook some fucking broccoli.
Need to get that in today.
That vegetable in. And she's just like, it's okay. And that for me, those rules, those restrictions, I think health has a lot of that too, which are just always conforming. We don't like rules here on No Such Thing as Normal Pod.
We don't.
So just shedding those rules and getting away from them and then figuring out what I wanted to have instead, which is kind of where I am now. I still don't know, but working on it, but at least I've released all the rules.
Yeah. And I feel like that's the biggest step. Like looking back at my life, I think I posed this question to you earlier this year, like what would happen if you stopped trying to lose weight?
Yeah.
Like, what would that mean for you? What would that mean for your body? What would that feel like? And like, weight is so tied into health when it just shouldn't be. It really just shouldn't be. There is so much conditioning around like what healthy looks like, when like healthy is different for you and it's different for other people, but it's also different for you at different stages of your life. Like your body fluctuates and it really has nothing to do with vegetables.
Yeah, you can't just eat a bunch of broccoli and be healthy.
You can't. Be loaded.
Yeah. Oh my God. And cruciferous vegetable farts are the worst.
The worst.
The worst. I love that question though, about thinking about like, what would you do if you stopped trying to lose weight? And I think it took a while because it was such an obsession for me, right? I mean, my whole life since I was 9 years old or whatever, I've been thinking about this. So it's also, I think, here's where I am actually, really honestly, I'm in this void of like, I've always listened to rules about this. And now that I've blown away the rules, I'm like, what do I do? And I find myself searching for better sounding rules, but they're still rules. And so I'm just working to like, what does healthy mean to me? What does healthy mean to me at this age? What does healthy mean to me for like wanting to get pregnant and have a child? What does that look like? So I've been thinking a lot about that. And just kind of journeying on what does healthy mean for me and all the layers, you know?
Yeah. And like, what does healthy feel like? Because I feel like a lot of people in our modern society have been so conditioned to normalize sickness that like we have lost touch with like what individualized health actually looks and feels like for you. Not what you're shown on TV, not all of the women smiling eating their salads, but like why are they always smiling? Like lettuce is not that good, guys.
They're smiling because they put on a shit ton of salad dressing and it tastes so good.
There's so much subliminal conditioning. Like I bet if I go to like a stock photo website or something and I type in healthy, I'm going to see photos of women eating salads. And like, that's going to be what we've so been conditioned to see it. But on the same, like on the other side of the same token, we have normalized these aches and pains. Oh, growing pains. Oh, it's just a part of getting older. It's just a part of aging. Like, No, your physical symptoms, I wholeheartedly believe, are tied to other things, including your weight, including that.
Why do you think people don't want to accept that? Because we
Well,
know it's true.
because I've said it once, I'll say it again. Sickness makes money. Your
Mm,
health does not make money. So think
mm,
about that the next time you are involved in the Western medicine system.
yeah.
Like, it is not necessarily set up to support your true health and well-being, because physicians make money from big pharma. Hospitals make money based off of imaging and scans and CTs and the amount of times that you come back. Like, it's just not a system that's been set up to truly support health and well-being. So question it.
I am 100% experienced that in 2020, maybe at the beginning of the year. I can't remember. Yeah, I think it was 2020. I had what was considered a panic attack, though I'd never had a panic attack before. I thought I was having a heart attack. And so much love and empathy for those who experience panic attacks and anxiety attacks. It's fucking horrible.
It's intense.
You're like catatonic, but inside your body is screaming and like running around like a crazy person, but you can't move. And so I went to the ER and I was like, you know, the lady's like, clickety, clickety, click, what's your name? Blah, 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 you know, and I'm just like, I think I'm having a heart attack. And she's like, whoa, oh, okay. She rushes me over, all the things, right? All the scans, all the beeps, blah, 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 all this stuff. Nobody once asked me if I was like having a panic attack or if there was anything else going on. They just took my word for it, you know? And I literally ran all these tests, and like hours later, I'm sitting in this little, like, you know, in my little nightgown thing. And they're like, well, nothing's wrong with you. And I was like, but clearly something is wrong with me. And what I actually realized was, yeah, it must've been 2020, because same time frame a year ago, January 19, or January 2019, I had my sort of tower event, my sort of life crumbling moment. And same time frame, again, literally around the same exact time. I didn't put it two together until a while ago. I was like, oh, my body is like having the same response of like, oh, here it comes again, you know, here's this time again, what's going to happen? And I totally freaked out. So that was a clear, I would say, sort of like mental, emotional experience that I hadn't quite fully processed, that came back and manifested physically, so that I could take a look at it. Because kind of what I learned in my yoga approach is like, disease starts out here. I'm holding my hands outside the body for those who are not watching the YouTube, get on it. But it starts like on your, maybe like your 6th or 7th auric layer, right? Way, way out there. And we try to get your attention, it keeps coming in. My hands are coming closer to my body. And then finally it manifests physically, because the body is the last stop, you guys. It's the last call, you know? So it's sort of like when it's there, I think that's also why it's scary, because it's kind of, you know, more challenging to undo when it's in a physical form, right? It's much easier to deal with stuff in the mental, spiritual, emotional realm, because it's not as physical yet, I would say.
Yeah. And your body is, I feel like, attached to linear time. So it takes a longer time to get your body to like bounce back and heal from it once it's already like gotten in there.
Little diseases. Yeah. And, you know, the other thing is, like, I've experienced a lot of people, client sessions, and they have all these crazy illnesses and they don't really know where they've come from. They don't know how they've manifested. And then you'll kind of see, like, you know, they have all this injury or this illness or this hurt or this pain on their right side. And I'll be like, tell me about your dad. Tell me about the men in your life. And then they'll start to like touch their, oh, my shoulder started to hurt when you said that. I'm like, weird. Yeah, do you feel like the men in your life kind of backstabbed you? Or yes. Okay. So let's process that feeling and emotions and see if the shoulder lightens up. And I don't know if it's like process emotions, pain goes away, but I feel like it's process emotions. You have more space in your body to like hold your shoulders better, or sit better, or work on your shoulders, or work on that pain in a way, instead of just allowing it to be there. I think that's what a lot of people do.
I know a lot of people, but like, that's your body's way of like red flagging, like, hey, something is up. And it might not just be like one thing. Like, you think you address a cause to like an ache or a pain, and then like it happens again. Why is it happening again? Well, because you listen to it. So now your body knows you're going to do something about it.
Yeah. And like you had mentioned, like the root cause. And I feel like that's like a big thing on people's spiritual journey. Like, what is the root cause of why I can't find a partner, or why this keeps happening, or da, 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 da. And I think there's a lot of cool spiritual methods to get back there. I'm guessing the Akashic Records is a good place to go.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a good place to go. But also my favorite Psyche for root causes. I love it. When people come to me with like physical manifestations, I go through this protocol and we find out like the messages around it that they're supposed to be receiving and shifting. But the first question that I ask is, well, when did you first notice this? What was happening in your life around that time? Because it's always, always, always associated. Always associated.
Yeah. Like, do you think we just get like physical pains in our body for like shits and giggles?
For no fucking reason. Yeah, no, your body is very intelligent and it's trying to protect you. It is here to help you, support you. It encases you in all of this meat.
Your meat suit. But I think that's why, like, when you see those commercials that are like, ask your doctor about Lexapro, the whatever. And it's like, why do I need to be asking my doctor about some weird ass thing that I don't even know of? And like, I see that, especially like there's all these like older, I'm going to call them boomers, but it's like, this guy's like it's like little videos, right? Little like scenarios of like life with these like medication commercials. And the guy's out like eating hot dogs and like going to the park with his grandson and all this kind of shit. And I'm just like, don't eat the chili dog. Just stop. Just don't eat that. And you'll be able to be with your grandson much longer and play. But he's like eating the chili dog. And then he's like, oh, I'll just take these pills and it'll like neutralize the fucking acid and grossness that this chili dog is bringing into my body. And you just want to be like, that's what they do. That's what I feel like medicine. It's like, okay, you go ahead and continue these unhealthy, not serving you at all habits. And then we'll just medicate the effects of that.
Well, the whole system operates off of the belief that you are broken. So yes. And I'm going to say something controversial, because health, we have such a individualized view of what health is and what health means. And it is so closely tied to food. And I'm going to throw this out there. It has nothing to do with food. What? It has everything to do with your intention while you are eating it. Like food, literally what did I hear the other day? There's no such thing as a vegetable. They're all fruit. Vegetable just means you can eat it. So like, what does that mean? What does that actually mean for you now? Oh shit, fruit and vegetables are the same. One's not better than the other.
Yeah.
Oh, what does that mean now? It's literally just means that you can eat it. It's like, what is the intention that you're eating your food with? Is it like, this is filling me up with nutrition and love and nourishment? Like, are you eating in a way that makes you feel good? Like, have that fucking chili dog. But if it gives you heartburn, that might be something to look at.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, like, to your point, like if you're eating in the car, right? Like your digestive system is not working.
It's
right?
not ready to digest.
It's not ready to digest. But like sitting down, having a meal, like taking that time, I think I've heard that so much on my weight, body image journey. And I think why I haven't been able to do it for so long is because I did think that I didn't deserve it. I didn't deserve nice candles and sitting down and, like getting myself into this place where I'm receiving food, because it was always a battle with food. It was always a war. It was always a something. And so, changing my relationship with it slowly and seeing it as nourishing, instead of also just comforting. For me, food was is comfort.
Yeah. I think for a lot of people, food is also like, well, not food necessarily, but eating is a lot how they process things, or stuff them down. Literally, a way to stuff things down emotionally is to eat. If you're not going to deal with it, just shove that in there.
Oh yeah. I started noticing a habit was like, every time I didn't want to do something, I would eat. I'd be like, okay, well, I have to do this hard work thing or whatever. Let me take a snack. And I was like, oh my God, I just don't want to do it. So I'm like, how about I just not do the thing instead of eat wheat thins, which are just like, and I'm not even tasting, I'm not, I would call there's like eating, digesting, really enjoying food. And then there's just like numbing, I guess, or placating,
just a habit.
Stuffing. Yeah.
I know. I told somebody actually recently in a session that their guides came through and were like, you need to find a practice. Like this overeating thing, this emotional eating thing was actually a way for them to process what was happening and literally digest what was going on around them. And in, a certain way, stuff it down and not really have to deal with it.
Yeah.
Like we're projecting all of our anger onto food instead of looking at why we can't actually communicate and express ourselves. But they told her to cultivate a different practice. When you're feeling overwhelmed, when you're feeling like it feels like the energy just needs to get out of your body. So like doing something, be it eating, that could be, if you're setting the intention, like eating this is helping me process what's going on. But
I
like
love
having that intention there, like a practice to process, I think would really help people.
Yeah. And intention setting is so important, right? You want it to be in the positive tense, positive present tense, like not using the word not in there, right? Like, what do you want? Right. And then what do you want this food to do for you? And then just see how it goes. I don't know. I struggle with the spiritual guidance that seems too easy for people. Right.
A lot of people struggle with that. They're
Yeah.
like,
But it's
that's
like,
it.
yeah,
Get in
I'm like,
nature,
really,
that's it.
get in nature, like make light a candle when you eat your dinner, but it's not about like lighting the candle, right? It's not about getting out in nature. I mean, it is, but it's like you took the time to get your ass out in nature. You took the time to make that nice meal, like that candle. There's so much energetics in and around those creations of that experience for you. That's what's healing. That's the shift in energy. That's the change in perspective. That's why we tell you to do these things. That's why Spirit's like, come on, you guys.
Just do it. We're making it really easy for you. But there's so much like conditioning around hardship as validation, which also plays hand in hand with health and healing. Like, oh, healing is a long journey. What is this? Like, I agree that healing is not linear, but I don't think that that means it's going to take you 15 years on and off to heal this gout. I think that means you need to be looking at it at all different levels outside of linear time. Like, that's what that actually means.
Yes. Okay. My guides are like jumping into the conversation and they're tapping me and they're like, let's talk about chronic illness.
Oh, bless it.
A little bit different, right? So we have our little bits, our little things that we can sort of, go through and heal. But then I would say in my experience, I just know so much more about this chronic illness and all these people with these chronic, which is like, this is for the rest of your life, or this is ongoing, or this is whatever. And so when they're labeled with that, I feel like they give up in that sense of like, okay, so I guess I'm just going to be with this and have to like mitigate it. And what do you think about that? Like, do you think chronic illnesses are really forever?
I think chronic illnesses make big pharma a lot of money. There's just not enough evidence and research that's supported in the medical community around like actual solutions for chronic illnesses. So like, here's these medications. You're going to be on this for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And that sounds terrible. And I feel like older generations kind of just accepted that because they were so used to handing their power away to physicians and people who knew them better than they did. But like, you know your body better than anybody else. Do not let the medical system gaslight you.
Yeah.
You can heal from anything. Like if you hold that vibration, then you're not giving up and you're not giving your power away.
And here's the thing, like, what's the worst that could happen if you hold that vibration? Nothing. You stay exactly the same and you continue on your medications. But I probably can most likely say that it will shift because when you're ill, if you let it seep into your other layers, mental, emotional, and spiritual, it's going to become even worse. If you're ill in the physical body, but you can start to have that healing energy in those other layers, it will transmute it in the body.
There's a thing in Psych K called secondary gains.
Ooh.
And it's like, what does your illness actually give you? Because once that chronic illness,
lots of chills on that.
It like becomes a part of your identity, and people are like, they don't want to give up that sick part of themselves that gets attention, that takes the time to go to doctor's appointments to take care of themselves. You know, like, what is this chronic illness actually giving you? Is it giving you a disability paycheck because you don't want to work?
Yeah.
Because work is hard. Like, what's your conditioning around work? Like, there's just so much that illness always gives you something.
Yeah.
It always gives you something.
I was just reading a post from somebody today who was talking about their chronic illness, which is kind of why it came up for me. And now as I think about that, as you say that, I think, well, you know what? It gives this person an opportunity to say, exactly what they feel and exactly what they need and exactly how they want to communicate. And, you know, one of the things they said was like, don't say like, oh, you'll get better soon because I won't. And I was like, ooh,
But you
like
could.
you really like to know that you're going to have this forever. And it is interesting because I do have a couple of clients with some very wild, crazy, I don't know why it's happening. And usually when you don't know why it's happening, you need to go up other layers, right? You need to look at other factors and other things as to why it's happening. And then also, like we've said before in this podcast, what is it teaching you? What is it showing you? What is it highlighting? Yeah. And that's scary too, I think, for people. I didn't call in MS. I didn't call in, you know, this disease, you did though.
Well, that's just because we're so conditioned to view this disease, this illness as a bad thing.
Yeah, that happened to us. And therefore we can turn our power over versus being like, I actually wanted this. Let's work with this. And hey, it could have been something that happened to you in a past life that you want to continue to work through, right? It could have been something that you wanted to do better. Maybe you were ill in a past life and you want to do your illness better this time. You want to learn from it. You want to grow from it. You know, like everybody kind of thinks that like that you have one life. And I really want people to change their opinion about that and start to look at you are a collection of all your experiences. And this is just your current manifestation. And then if you start to expand beyond that, you realize that you're a really awesome soul working through all these things to learn and grow and evolve. So, and illness, is a huge teacher.
Huge. I have heard that birthmarks are like signifiers of how you died in a past life. And I've actually had that confirmed in a couple of readings. Jenna, my wife, has like a weird birthmark on her back, and she has a healer because she has some health issues going on. And her healer was basically like, oh yeah, you literally got stabbed in the back, like in a past life.
This scar was a birthmark right here.
Uh-huh.
So hello, was I seeing too much?
Oh
yeah. I've also heard that moles are signs that you're a witch. Just so you know,
she has a bunch of moles. I'm going to tell her she's a witch.
Yeah.
When she gets home.
I shared that with some people and everybody's like, oh my God, you know, but it's like, yeah, you know, like, it's like our little, like, what's up, witch? What's up? You know,
look at my moles. I'm a witch.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So disease, physical, mental, emotional, like, have you experienced anything in your own life that started in a mental, physical or emotional space and actually manifested in your physical body?
Oh, yes. You actually helped me with this recently. So, trauma, your body stores trauma, right? I was sexually abused as a child and I don't remember a lot of it as like a coping mechanism, I guess. Like my guides have said, like, I don't need to remember. And you've relayed that message to me too when we've talked about it. It's like, you don't need to remember. But as far as I can recall, I have had issues pooping. I am one constipated bitch, like all the time.
It's not a pleasant feeling.
No, I thought that was normal. Like, just, oh yeah, I'm constant. Yeah, I don't poop like but once every 5 days. That's normal, right? No, it's not normal. FYI. But like, you and I had this conversation because it's just come into my field of awareness lately. Like, I really want to poop more often. So I started this parasite detox, which has been great. Love it. Yeah. Have lots more energy, definitely more regular. But then there was this like missing piece. Like, it wasn't as often as I like wanted it to be. And I still felt kind of like slowed down. And then we talked and you were like, well, when did your abuse happen? And I was like, I don't know, 5 or 6. And you were like, yeah, that's pretty much when you stopped digesting. Like, it was too much to digest what happened. And it made a lot of sense. So I went in my records and I asked them what still needed to be healed around it. Cause I've done Psych K for it. So I know like subconsciously I'm not living in that moment. I've taken the trauma out of it with Psych K, but going in my records and like bringing this version of myself forward, it was like I was healing this perverse part of my family line that like sexualized children because it was a family member that did it to me. And it was like, I signed up to heal that part. So when I was able to really face that and acknowledge on the energetic level, girl, I've been pooping every day.
Woohoo!
So excited.
That's amazing. It is life-changing. Well, and see, I love that you even said too, that like, you know, maybe you use one modality like Psych K, right? And then you realize like, oh, let me add some Akashic records to that. Let me add some Reiki to that. Let me add some whatever else. It's like, sometimes an issue takes a couple different approaches to kind of understand and release it and move through it. And I think that's cool. I had this like crazy right hip pain, like right where the hip and the socket met. And it just was always achy. It was definitely related to my dad. And I went and saw my healer, and she does acupuncture, but also muscle testing. And she did some muscle.
I love that.
I love them. Right.
Yeah.
And so she was doing this, and she's actually not practicing anymore. And she had 2 babies, and I totally get it. But I like stalk her and I'm like, are you going to start doing acupuncture again? It's like, she fucking healed me in one session. And I was like, I was like, oh my God. Like, it was gone. And I was just like, oh, I'm just going to have to like deal with this pain. I do all these fucking yoga poses to try to like get it out, whatever. And then what she did in the work was she released me of any promises, any oaths, any things that I made in the past. And then I got up and I walked around, and I thought, I know, right? I walked around and I was like, wow, this is gone. But I was like, oh, it'll probably like come back. You know how sometimes you get like a healing and then it kind of like will subside. And then, you know, if there's still more to work on, and it was gone. And I called her crying, and I was like, I don't know what you did, but it's gone. But I also think I was ready to release it. Right.
I was ready
to like,
you have to
let it
ready.
go. Cause I was just like, I don't know why this is here. I don't know where it's from. It feels deeper than a pain. It feels like something that I need to look at. So that's the other thing I'd say is sit with your pain, your illness, your disease, and see what's coming up. I have a couple of friends that have gone through breast cancer. And it's really hard to, I think, to tell people like who have a physical disease, like, you might not be loving yourself, or you might, you know, but if they have an awareness, they will actually see that like breast cancer, it's a big talker for women and our self-sacrifices. And just, I don't know, there's a lot in there. And I think I would just say, you know, be wise with who you're talking to about this kind of stuff, because not everybody can receive it, you know, and understand it, you know.
You have to be ready to I guess, assume your role in your illness. You have to be ready to face that. Like, okay, I chose this and I'm calling it in. Otherwise I wouldn't be experiencing it. And a lot of the time, like, acknowledging that is half the battle.
Yes.
And look at your astrology chart, because like I have been relatively healthy my whole life, right? Aside from constipation. But I have Venus in my 6th house of like health, wellness, daily routines. So like it is like self-care is like fun and magic and deep for me. And it comes very naturally, versus my wife, her 6th house has Saturn in it. So it is literally her life lesson, these health issues that she's experiencing. Like, and it's hard for her because it feels restricted because Saturn is there. So like, look at your astrology chart, also see what's in your 6th house. That will give you, and your 1st house, that will give you a lot of insight into your health.
I love that. Yeah. And I think it is hard when you are facing ongoing health challenges or ongoing, you know, sicknesses or disease, or, I mean, I'm not going to say like, you know, it's easy, but it can be more fulfilling, more interesting, more enlightening if you turn the light towards what's going on with you. Right. Like, and like, stop thinking that like God is mad at you and God hates you.
It's right.
You know? Like,
God actually had nothing to do with this. You sat down and picked this.
God was like, are you sure you want to pick that? You're like, yeah, I'm going to learn so much. And here's the thing, like, think of all the friends that you made, right? Think of the perspectives that have changed, you know, like I think about my friend who had breast cancer, and her life was 25 miles an hour, nonstop, 365, 24/7. And her husband actually took a break from work to be her cancer doula, which I think is like freaking adorable. They like totally rebonded their relationship as a couple. They go out, they go camping, they slow down together. And I was just like, what a gift, man. And I'm like that friend that's like, wow, your cancer is awesome. What a beautiful gift, you know? And like, luckily I have friends that can receive that.
Great. Because that might sound really callous.
Yeah. You know, and even I want to say that even with like, this is why I do the work of, you know, with miscarriages and the spirit babies, I'm like, as sad as that was, as awful, as hard as that experience was for you, look at the gifts. Look what that baby showed you, brought you, made light for you, highlighted for you. Yeah, the spirit babies are here and they just really want to talk about that. But yeah, it's just that feeling of like, we don't get through life sort of like totally unscathed, I guess is like what I want to say is like, as things happen to you, realize that you've called them in to experience them.
Well, that is the point. That's the whole point of being here. The whole point is not to be at the end, at the finish line. The whole point is growing through the process.
Yeah.
I think we've also been, I mean, it's a marketing ploy to like sell the end result, right?
Yeah.
Keep people striving, keep people working towards this unattainable goal. But it's really the process. It's really leaning into the journey and like the healing and going through those motions, maybe over and over, maybe throughout the entire course of your life. But that's the whole point.
Ooh, and I feel that like, I don't want it, man. I don't want to. And it's like, then you're just going to be in that resistance energy. And that's not healing either.
I think the resistance is also conditioned though, because like, it's not like our modern medical system makes it easy for you to heal.
No,
it doesn't. Your doctor is not going to stay up late at night Googling what is wrong with you.
Yeah.
You are the expert in your care and like
Yeah.
taking those things and the things that you learn and do your own research, like do your own research into your health. I cannot harp on that enough. And if you have a doctor that shames you for it, get a new one.
Yeah.
Because they have a God complex and are not ready to have their ego challenged about it. But like, they're not going to stay up late at night going down these internet rabbit holes about what could be going on or different lab tests you might want. So find a supportive physician and it will be made easier.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. I always see it as like my health team. Who's on my team? My acupuncturist is on my team. My massage therapist is on my team. My spiritual healers, you know, my naturopath, like this is my team, but I'm in charge, right? I have to know, and I can go to them and be like, and the thing is too, like, if you show up and your doctor's going to be like, so how long has this been happening? And you're like, well, no, like take notes, note how you're feeling so that you have this record. Because I think I used to show up to the doctors and be like, don't you fucking know everything? Can I just tell you that I don't feel well? And you're going to be like, it's this. And as the more I learned about it, and I have family members that are in the medical field, I ask them all these things and they're like, we don't know. We don't know why it happens. We don't know. And I'm like, what? You guys,
they don't know why. They do not
like,
know why.
Well, we give you this drug and then this happens. We give you that drug and then this happens and then da, 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 da. And I'm like, oh, so you're like a cocktail bartender of drugs to like get chemists. Me functioning. Yeah.
They're chemists. They're not there to actually heal you. They're there to give you the right pill.
It's so true. It's so true. Oh my goodness. Well, what about other clients? Have you helped clients work through some like health stuff and other big things? Like, do people come to you a lot for health, wellness stuff?
I think so. I try not to market myself as that because if I'm so symptom forward, then I attract people who aren't ready to face the deeper root causes. You know, they think that like, oh, well, you need to heal me. And like, I work with people who are ready to heal themselves. Yeah. I work with people who are ready to like, look at the different layers. It will come out like somebody will come to me and say like, oh, I've just been really struggling. I have anxiety and da, 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 da. And then like, as we talk, like, oh, well, I, was diagnosed with whatever at 15. Okay, well, what happened when you were 15? Oh, my mom left. Okay, so like, here are the issues that actually need to be healed that are coming through these physical manifestations. So I don't personally advertise myself as symptom forward.
That makes sense.
I need you to know what you're struggling through for us to be able to unravel it.
Yeah.
How about you? Do people come to you with health stuff?
I will get a lot of like, am I healthy? is there any like blockages in my uterus or in my fallopian tubes, or how are my eggs and that kind of stuff. And my guides have allowed me to do like what I essentially looks like to me is like a body scan.
Mm-hmm.
And then what I will get from that is like, there's a lot of heat in your uterus, or there's a lot of this, or there's a lot of that. So I will get like signatures of things. But like when people have like uterine fibroids, that's like a big thing that prevents people from getting pregnant. I'm just like, so what are you mad about? Like what's pissing you off about this space? And, tell me about the first time you had sex, and tell me about, I've got a lot to chills on that. Right. Yeah. So, we're going to create things to prevent things from happening, so that we don't get pregnant with that partner or that person or in this time of our lives. But then that kind of stays with us, and we've got to do work to clear it or release it, and I think at some points, you have to maybe like surgically remove things, right? I don't know that you could, if you have a time limit on when you want to get pregnant and you want to clear things out. So I think there is some benefit to medical intervention in that place. But if you just remove it and you don't deal with the underlying issues and feelings, you'll probably get another one.
It's going to come back.
It's going to come back in some other form or some other way. So I do see that a lot. People are really worried about that. They're really, and I think like the medical world, like after 35, it's a geriatric pregnancy.
Oh God, like, that is so demeaning.
So demeaning.
So demeaning.
And the words, like a failed pregnancy, and just, all the words that they have when things don't go right, so to speak, are just the worst. Yeah. And a lot of what I do with clients is help them energetically remove what people have told them about their body or about their, right. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, and, it can be as simple as like, journal it out, take a bath, shower, with intention, release all the things that doctors have told you. And I've been told that too in my journey. They're like, you need to release those things that your doctor told you. And you might've been like 14 or 16 or whatever, long time ago. And it's still lingering, in your sphere that, you can't do this or you have to have that. So.
Yeah. And I think it's important to say, like, we're saying all of this and we're not like shaming doctors. Like, do I get along with them? No, but that is a personal choice.
It's a personal choice.
But like I think most physicians go in, and practitioners, nurse practitioners, physician assistants go in well-intentioned, but the system teaches them that they know better than you. We are not taught, especially even through nursing school, that the patient knows best. We are not taught that. And they are also taught through this system that is, if you're going through the regular MD program, it's funded by like Coca-Cola, Johnson & Johnson, Mars, the Mars company, candy. Like most nutrition programs in colleges, I don't know if you know, are like funded by Mars, Hershey, Coca-Cola, Johnson & Johnson. Like you have to be your own advocate and actually look into these things, and just don't give your power away. There is money in sickness. If somebody is profiting off of you being ill, question it.
Always follow the money. I remember learning that in college. You guys remember when dark chocolate M&Ms came out? Because they said that, dark chocolate is like so good for you. Who funded that study?
Hershey.
Mars.
Yeah, Mars.
Hershey's, Mars, one of those. And then the dark chocolate in M&Ms is not the same as like a really nice bar of 76% cacao, like dark chocolate.
Which is really misleading because that tastes like shit. But M&Ms taste great.
I like dark chocolate. You don't like dark chocolate?
So bitter.
I will, and I'll send you some good dark chocolate.
Okay.
We have some good dark chocolate up here in the Seattle area. We like chocolate. We like our coffee. I don't know, but it's also kind of funny too, because as I think about dark chocolate, I mean, immediately like the weight loss comes in, right? It's immediately have one square of dark chocolate and you won't want any more. Sorry, I will.
I will eat this whole bar. Watch me.
I'd say it is a little bit harder to eat a whole bar of dark chocolate than like a milk chocolate or whatever, but I still get milk chocolate. It's good.
It's delicious. Okay, so Jess, after saying like all of this about health, illness, disease, chronic illnesses, weight, what does healthy even mean? Like, I feel like people are so detached from the concept of
Yeah.
health, true health, not women eating salads. So like, what does healthy mean?
I think, at least for me, it feels like that word alignment or that word balance. It feels like intentional, has a lot of awareness in it. Like, I'm aware of what I'm eating. I'm aware of what I'm doing. I'm aware of my thoughts, you know, and when I feel that out of alignment, I can pull in the tools and resources I can to get back into that place, which just feels like harmony, right?
Mm-hmm.
It just feels good when you eat something that feels good for your body, whatever it is, chili dog or a salad or dark chocolate or milk chocolate. Like, you notice it, you notice when you're in a good and vibration and you're eating something versus when you're in a bad vibration eating the same thing. So it feels like effortless. It feels fun. It feels light. It feels breezy. Like, that's kind of my vision for health. I don't want it to be hard to be healthy. No,
That's
I
stupid.
want it to be joyous and fun and effervescent. I made a matcha latte the other day in honor of you.
I'm so proud of you.
And I just used like a little bit of matcha and whisked it up. And it was good.
They are good.
Yeah. So, just those little things of like, I want to try something else besides coffee, because here's the thing. If I really step back and think of it, coffee does not serve me. And that makes me sad.
Well, maybe right now. You can
Yes,
always
maybe right
come
now.
back to it. It's just like, maybe right now it's making you a little anxious. Okay, I'm going to step back.
Yeah. And what I realized though, is like, what do I love? Not coffee, the process,
Oh, the
having a warm drink,
ritual.
the ritual. So if I replace it with cacao or tea or matcha or whatever, it's just been a lovely experience to just notice that. So I think I'm always open, like you said, to like, what is working for me in this moment? What do I need to be healthy in this moment? Sometimes what I need is a bunch of chocolate and a blanket, like, and I think we have to like let go that like those are characterized as unhealthy, maybe habits. But if it gets you through, if it helps you through something, I don't know, I would say that's healthy, right? If somebody was on the outside observing you, they may say it's not healthy, but to you, it might be the healthy thing right now.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's so interesting also that every time we talk about health, food comes up because it has nothing to do with food. I know it's like so ingrained. And I have been peeling back the layers of this onion this year. This has been a
Yeah.
big year for me thinking about how food has related into health, because like it's just eating. Other like aliens have come to me and been like, we don't eat. Like, like, and it just
I literally have been, I remember thinking this as a kid, being like, isn't there just a pill that we get with all of our nutrients and everything in it, so we can just go about our fucking day and not have to worry about food? Because I feel like finding food, gathering food, eating food, preparing food, it takes up so much time. And as much as I love it, I would also opt for like instant nutrition.
That's the alien in you.
It is. And I kept like looking around and being like, is that weird? Is that mixed with my diet pill thing? But it wasn't like a diet pill thing. It was just like everything's taken care of, so that you can function and go about your day. Cause it's challenging to like figure out, they always tell you this food is good. Now it's bad. Now it's good. Now it's bad.
There is no such thing as good and bad. And that is such a challenging concept for people to grasp.
I'm really curious to hear why you think that food is not a part of health.
I think the ritual of eating is a part of health. I think that has a lot to do. Carving out the time to take care of yourself is a part of health. But food is just fuel. It is not a part of health. Health is so much greater than your waistline. It's so much more than what size jeans you wear. Like, that has nothing to do with true health. And like, that's the lesson that I've been learning this year. Like, allowing my body to take up space feels so rebellious to me, because women are taught to be so small, and like, healthy, you're smaller, you're thinner, you're more fit, you're quiet.
Yeah, we can pick you up and take you away.
Yeah.
How did this lesson come to you this year? Like, you keep saying that. Like, how do you kind of know when your lessons are showing up?
I think, well, I mean, obviously today we're chatting, it's the Virgo new moon. Virgo, I think, is one of the signs of mother. It's service, caring, taking care of, and losing that pregnancy last year. And then kind of reclaiming my body from that. And like this whole journey of trying to get pregnant has really taught me so much about my body and my biggest fears when I actually was pregnant for 5 weeks, for 6 minutes. I was so worried about not being able to bounce back, not being able to fit back in my jeans. What was that going to mean? And it really caused me to take a big look at like, well, why am I so worried about what I look like? Oh, I want to be attractive. Why do I want to be attractive? Well, because I historically have placed my value through men's eyes. Do they find me attractive? Okay, now I'm valuable. So like allowing my body to not be restricted this past year with diet, exercise. Like I am now exercising in a way that like makes me feel strong, regardless of if I'm going to lose weight from it. And like untangling myself from this losing weight story has been a journey.
I love that. That's awesome. And it is, sometimes we have those experiences in our lives, like a miscarriage or something, to come up to have us look at that, look at those layers a little bit deeper, question why we are so concerned about something. Oh my God, the bouncing back after a baby. I saw this, I think her name's like Bird's Papaya. She's so cute.
I love her.
I love her. We love you, Bird's Papaya.
I love her.
But she's like, she did something like where she's like, she's like, oh, bouncing back. And then she kind of like, you can like pull up your pants and like, a trick, right?
Yeah.
And like, oh, we have a smooth belly. And then she like folds them down. And she's like, my whole body bounces. She was like jiggling. And it was just like, I mean, I have to say like the postpartum moms who are sharing their bellies and their stretch marks and all that, like, I thank you. I love you. Like, keep doing it, because this is normalizing it, right? This is like, this is what your body looks like after growing a human inside of you.
Your soul existence is not to be found attractive.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes.
And I do want to talk about this next episode. So like, let's put a bookmark, because I feel like both you and I are so impassioned about like weight and body image.
So impassioned
that we're going to set this aside. So if you're interested, come back next week.
And if you're not interested, still come back.
If you're feeling triggered, you definitely come back.
Yeah. And we always like to say, like, if you're hearing our topics, if you have things that are, coming up in your life, like send us an email. Our email is no such thing as normal podcast@gmail.com. I know it's a lot, but that's where we are. Yeah.
Okay, I think we should wrap up. We talked about all of this, like, oh, just deal with it. Health and sickness, you chose it. So now, any final thoughts, tips, or guidance from spirit about healing?
Oh, they just said to me right away, you can heal yourself.
Adopt that.
It's one of the gifts that we're given as humans. What else do they want to say about that? They're kind of saying like, healing is different than removing an illness.
It is.
Right. So for those who might have this chronic thing or this degenerative thing or whatever, that might still stay in your life, but you can still heal from that. Yeah. Does that make sense? And what I kind of feel like that is, you're going to heal the why, you're going to heal everything that comes with it. You're going to have this full understanding of it and a deep acceptance of it. And that is healing, even if you still have a sickness or an illness to deal with. Yeah.
Beautifully said.
Yeah. What about you? What do your guides say
about healing?
Yeah.
Let me beam up there and ask them. Oh, my guides are so direct. They're like, just do it. Like, the longer you wait, the harder it's going to be for you. Like, just do it. Start the process, book the appointment, whatever, knowing that this might not be a one-stop shop, knowing you might have to continue down the journey, and then call in the people in your life that are going to support you through that.
Ooh, I got lots of chills on that.
Including practitioners.
Yes. Like us.
Yes. Like us.
we love to help people move through shit and heal stuff. I love it when my clients email me back and they're like, Jessica, that was so amazing. And it really helped our relationship. And this allowed this to flow. And I'm like, yes, I love holding that space. And I love what my favorite thing, like part of what I do, I would say, is like, I look for the disturbances in your energy force. And so I make this space like this, as you're talking. I'm like, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? And then as soon as you say it, it like opens this energetic door. I'm like, let's go in there. So I love getting to the root cause of things. I love getting to like, what is bothering you about something. So
do I. There's like I don't think there's any greater satisfying feeling than like hitting the nail on the head. Like, yes, that's it.
Yeah. For me, it's like plucking out something. You're just like, and then like all this stuff can like release, you know?
So
it's like an energetic shit, you know?
Yeah.
after being constipated for so long.
When you are energetically constipated.
Always got to bring it back to poop.
Here we are. Okay. I think that's all the thoughts that we have on health, healing, disease. If you have more questions, like just send us an email. We can touch base on it in the next episode.
Yeah.
And yeah, let us know if you were triggered by this.
Yeah. DM us.
Okay. Until next time.
All right. Bye.
Bye.